Thank you for joining for this week of devotions. I'm looking at challenges to faith. Challenges can come in many forms, but I'll be looking at challenges to the truth or believability of our faith. Really, each of these challenges deserves much longer to cover fully than I have in these devotions. But I will share something of how I experienced these challenges as a young adult. Times have changed over the last 45 years since then, but despite this, I believe that issues at the core of these questions haven't changed that much. I was fortunate to hear the gospel and become a Christian in my teens and begin to live that out in my daily life. It was really helpful to have good youth leaders and a supportive group of teenage Christian friends around me. But on the other hand, I grew up in quite a sheltered and narrow environment. On going off to college, I was eager to share my faith, confident of its truth and power. I was going with a mixture of learning, zeal, naivety, and arrogance. I had read a lot in the Bible, particularly the New Testament, but the students at my sixth form who were not Christians didn't think about religion much, being more interested in matters of everyday life. This was not the case when I started at university. I was happy to talk about my faith, but I was rather floored when friends raised hard questions or had their own belief systems. So I'm going to share something of how I experienced these challenges and some ways we can approach these challenges. So, what should we do about it when others bring reasonable questions to challenge the beliefs we've grown up with? One approach is to retreat and avoid engaging with the world of ideas outside of our Christian circles. Sadly, for some Christians, this leads to them facing these challenges at a later stage without resources to hand to deal with them. This can lead to a conflict between what their heart wants to believe and what their head tells them makes sense. Often, this leads to a struggle to hold on to any kind of faith. Others might say that because only God can convince people, we should not try to persuade others about our faith. But I believe that we need to do our best to find and give people answers, and only then to let God do the rest. For we are called to be partners with God in helping people come to faith. And I believe discussing and challenging their ideas can be a part of that. Paul says in the letter to the Colossians, chapter 4, verses 5 and 6, "Be wise in the way you act towards outsiders. Make the most of every opportunity. Let your conversation be always full of grace, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how to answer everyone." Opportunities to talk about our faith will come, and when they do, we are expected to give a gracious but helpful answer to those we meet who are not Christians. An answer that makes sense and is honest, and always with the aim to be helpful to that individual rather than win an argument. To do that well may need some thought about issues the person is concerned about. It should always be a kind and loving response, but it should be the best we are capable of. The Apostle Paul, in his defense before the Roman governor Festus, told him of the events of Jesus' life and how these were fully in keeping with what should have been expected from the Hebrew Scriptures. After hearing him, Festus, the Roman governor, poured scorn on Paul's faith. But Paul responded, "I am not insane, most excellent Festus. What I am saying is true and reasonable." So I hope that when we have opportunity to talk about our faith, that those we speak with will feel our answers are gracious, as well as meaningful and reasonable. And with God's help, perhaps they too may in time come to believe they are true.
So take me as you find me, all my fears and failures. Fill my life again. I give my life to follow everything I believe in. Now I surrender. Now I surrender. Savior, He can move the mountains. My God is mighty to save. He is mighty to save. Forever, author of salvation. He rose and conquered the grave. Jesus conquered the grave. Shine your light and let the whole world see. We're singing for the glory of the risen King. Jesus, shine your light and let the whole world see. We're singing for the glory of the risen King. Savior, He can move the mountains. My God is mighty to save. He is mighty to save. Forever, author of salvation. He rose and conquered the grave. Jesus conquered the grave.